times when people get on my nerves, like, well, I'm not gonna take it.
Right.
You got me twisted, sister.
That's right, comma. Commas save lives. Dee Snider very, very unhappy when right-winger candidates use this song. It's nothing like a big crowd of white people saying they're not going to take it anymore to get your hackles all Carrie Lake is this woman who is the front-runner for the GOP nomination for Arizona governor. If Florida and Ohio aren't crazy enough for you, you can move to Arizona. She was a longtime television anchor who just years ago was slobbing Obama's knob, but all of a sudden now she's like full-on MAGA. And she's been using this song, and Dee Snider, to say that he was unhappy is putting it mildly. He said the first line of the verse is, "We got the right to choose, idiots." Mm-hmm. It's a pro-choice anthem. This is not intended for fascist morons. Write your own damn song, is what he said. And you see this a lot, you know, when these kooky candidates go out there and they start playing these songs, and the artists have to go, hey, knock it off.
Knock it off. And also, yeah, you're completely missing the point.
Yeah,
of
missing
what
the
we're
point.
Saying. Yeah,
that's right. So anyway, he's like, I wrote it for everyone. You can't cherry pick what you like and what you don't like, but he absolutely doesn't want them using, or Carrie Lake using that song at her campaign stops. Guardians will play tonight. They beat the Diamondbacks last night. Speaking of Arizona, took them 11 innings to do it, but 6-5 was the final. Second of 3 tonight, 7:10 here on MMS. And then they'll close out with an afternooner tomorrow. So Guardians, Diamondbacks tonight on your FM home for Cleveland Guardians baseball. The Juan Soto national nightmare is over for people paying attention to where Juan Soto was going to go. Trying to get out of the Washington Nationals as fast as his little legs will take him. They're terrible this season. So he's going to the Padres to play with Mike Clevenger. In fact, he said when there were a number of teams that were talking to Juan Soto because he was going to get paid a lot of money. And a lot of teams were having conversations with him. You know, the White Sox were in the mix there for a minute, but they were never going to spend that kind of money. They were just dipping their toe in the water. But he said in these negotiations, I need to be with a team where the existence of forests can be debated. And so, as we know, our buddy Mike Clevenger, former Cleveland Indian, who doesn't believe in forests, he's for the Padres. So they're sending Juan Soto to San Diego for 6 players. Jeez. That's who the Nats will get. 6 players for Juan Soto. So he'll be there with Padres have a good team. They've got, what's his name? Fernando Tatis Jr.
Yep.
Right? Not Fernando Tatis Sr.
No, the junior.
Fernando Tatis Jr., who's a tall dude, by the way. Manny Machado's there, too.
Yeah, they got him, and they also traded for Josh Bell today,
Josh Bell.
Yeah, so they got...
Manny Machado, by the way, is at 3 years into a 10-year, $300 million contract with the Padres. His was the richest contract in the history of North American sports when he signed it.
That's so much money.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
Isn't Juan Soto the guy from Star Wars?
You're thinking of Ham Solo.
Oh, no, that's me on Saturdays. Ham Solo.
One of our friends, many, many years ago when we were still in Chicago, one of our friends that we ran with pretty frequently, she thought, she had never seen Star Wars, but she knew its place in pop culture. She thought that the character's name was Hans Olo.
Hey, why not?
So every time we talk to her, we're like, how's Hans Olo doing?
Hans Olo.
Yeah. No, you're thinking of Han Solo.
Juan Soto sounds the same. Maybe a little rewrite.
They do sound very similar, but not a character from Star Wars. So he's going to San Diego. Whoever sent me this Coheed and Cambria joke, I assume you meant that for Bill. Will I understand the new Coheed and Cambria album if I've already had sex? Is the meme that was sent to me. Again, I'm not the Coheed guy. Bill's the Coheed guy.
But what's
Send that to him.
That doesn't... Is Coheed a band that...
I think that they're implying that nerdy bands like that appeal to virgins. Right. I don't know.
Good one, bud.
You're a virgin. Get it?
Yeah, I got it.
Get it, Bill? Because you don't had the sex. Get it?
I guess not, because I listen to Coheed.
You get it, Alan?
Listen, those are the bands that I don't know that they were implying that Bill is a virgin, but they were certainly implying that this band that he enjoys a great deal might appeal to people who don't see a lot of female genitalia.
Or male genitalia.
I was mowing the lawn before we left for vacation, and I had just a little random playlist. I don't often do random playlists on my phone, right? I'll usually zero in on a band I want to listen to or a series, whatever. This time, I let it go hog wild. I pick one band I like, and then it sent me into a playlist.
I like that. I like doing that a lot.
It's not bad. But it threw up some really old Rush. And I'm a big Rush fan. Love Rush. But I was like, wow, a band like Rush would have never been given the time to grow the way Rush did. You go back to early Rush.
The trash.
That high voice and these long, nerdy songs about, Passage to Bangkok and Temples of Syrinx. You're like,
yeah, but
wow, they really had to pull in
a
very specific audience before they kind of blew up.
But with the way things are so fragmented now anyway, they could have even been bigger, I think, because their audience would be able to find them easier.
Faster.
Yeah, through the internet.
I did that on my drive home from New York. I had gone down a Stevie Ray Vaughan rabbit hole that made me cry. That's how bad my PMS was. I was watching videos of Stevie Ray Vaughan playing live, crying because I'll never get to see him.
Wait, what? You were watching videos while you're driving?
No. This was in New York. In New York, I was
right.
watching the videos of Stevie Ray Vaughan, and I was so upset that I'll never get to see him live that it made me cry. So then I put on it's called Stevie Ray Vaughan Radio. So it's him and then bands like him. And then I went on a Kenny Wayne Shepherd kick.
Hey!
He's awesome.
He got signed. I was still doing radio in Kalamazoo, Michigan when he came through and did a show for our radio station because he was a novelty because he was 16 years old.
Oh, wow.
When his first album came out. So we're talking like 95, something like that.
If we still played games, we could do jazz musician or
serial killer?
Yeah.
No, but I listened to him for like over an hour, and I was like, damn, this guy is good. I really enjoyed that.
Kenny Wayne Shepherd's dynamite.
Yeah, he's touring right now. There's nothing near us that I would be able to go see him. He's on the West Coast a lot, but
that was the first you'd ever heard of him?
I had recognized like that Blue on Black. I knew that song.
Because that's been covered.
Right.
Yeah. A couple times.
So I knew that one, and then I recognized one other one, but I did like a deeper dive on him. So the tour he's going on right now is a 25th anniversary tour of one of his albums. I think it's called Trouble Is.
Trouble Is, I think of the debut album.
Yeah, so that's the one that I listened to. I listened to that entire album, and I was like, man, this is really good.
He had a great singer.
Yeah.
He's a phenomenal guitar player. Yeah, Kenny Wayne Shepherd's a lot of fun. The rental car that we had when we went to Jersey didn't have satellite. So we were relegated
How did you survive?
Mine didn't have air conditioning.
I'm not joking. There is a lot of bad radio out there.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of terrible, horrible. I mean, from Jersey to one end of Pennsylvania to the other, there's a lot, God bless when I got back into earshot of, when I was near Pittsburgh, I could listen to my old station or listen to WDVE. Getting closer to MMS. Corey Roddick was on, I think, when we pulled into town. Corey Roddick, who is a solid voice here on MMS, embodies the station, I think, more than anybody else. He's better than a dozen of these full-time dudes on these other stations.
Yep.
You got MMR in Philly, which is like a legendary station. They're good. They got good people. But holy cow, are there a lot of bad people
It's a lot
doing
of Jesus.
big-time radio. There's a lot of Jesus.
Especially in places like rural Pennsylvania.
But I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about like just rock and roll stations or, everything on the Jersey Shore is named after an animal. So there's the rat, there's the hawk, there's the.
Were you just trying to check out the local flavor, or were you not using your phone to listen to stuff?
Local flavor.
I do that sometimes when
Yeah,
I'm
I will
driving.
too,
I'll just scan through and
I
see.
just didn't know if he couldn't figure out the Bluetooth.
Well, no, because it was me, Gwen, Nora, and then Gwen's dad and stepmom. So I'm not going to play Lamb of God for 8.5 hours in that car. But I was also probably driving my wife crazy because I'm
every 20 seconds. I'm doing
punching
same
the thing,
Yeah.
you
that
know.
would make me nuts.
I think
But
she
you
had
are-
her headphones on listening to an audiobook.
Sometimes you can find something you really liked. When I was up in Traverse City, northern Michigan, and they had a radio station. I think it was called The Diamond or Diamond FM, something like that. But it's a 90s country station. So they only play like the top songs from that decade. So for the entire weekend, that's what I was listening to. And I heard so many great throwbacks that I was like, that's one that I went to their station. And every now and then I would go to their station website and I'll like listen to that station through their live stream because it was so solid. But you just get that
I
from
don't know
punching
what's
around.
up there. Bob FM.
I don't know. I don't know what it was, but it
Bob
was
FM.
Diamond something.
Bob is one of these stations where they're like, we play anything. Like, we've got the Lake in Cleveland, but in a lot of other cities, it's called Bob FM, because I guess years ago they thought that was quirky and pithy and whatever. Bob plays whatever you want, unless you want to call him, because it's a computer running the thing. Then not so much. You can always leave us messages, by the way, if you listen on the iHeartRadio app. Little talkback button there. You can drop us quick ones.
Alan, talking about DC not being liberal. I have a black friend, yeah, I said it, what's up, who is a firefighter paramedic for the city of DC, but commutes back to Ohio as well. And he will tell you DC is possibly the most liberal place he's ever seen in his life.
Yeah, I think Poundcake said something about DC. Your friend needs to get out more. I've never heard
DC
anyone
is a
say that
liberal
DC.
city.
Huh?
I have friends in D.C., gays in D.C. and
Is what?
They're entirely liberal.
You said it was a conservative city because of government.
I never said that. You said that. I said D.C. is a very liberal city, probably the most liberal city.
Well, no, that guy needs to get out more. He's clearly never been to Portland or 1,000 other cities. I've never heard anyone refer to D.C. as the most liberal city. I mean, if the guy's living in Ohio, it might seem like that, but
Yeah, Portland's disgusting.
it's just a different vibe.
Like,
I'm going to D.C. in October to see the B-52s. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to have to bend Poundcake's ear to tell me where all the hot spots are in D.C.
I'll ask my gays. I've never been to D.C. They canceled my trip. My Oberlin didn't take us like they were supposed to. My brother got to go to D.C. in 6th grade. And then when I got to 6th grade, they were like, oh, we're moving the trip to 8th grade. And I get to 8th grade, and they canceled the trip altogether. So I never got to go. I never experienced D.C.
We did it senior year.
We did it 8th grade.
Yeah, we didn't do that trip.
You had to go to all the museums and
They probably thought there would have been too many. They probably thought there would have
Situations.
been too many. Temptations? Right?
We got in trouble the first night because it was back when hotel rooms still had matches, and one of the kids that was staying in our room lit matches as soon as he got it. He's like, matches? He started lighting them, and they're like, you gotta go. And then they realized, oh, we're 8 hours from Cleveland. Like,
Yeah.
we can't do anything with this kid.
just put him in a room with a teacher or something.
Nah, they're just like, And
the
also, I
matches.
think they realized every single kid
the
started
same
lighting matches.
Oh boy.
Yeah, what's the discipline with that? Like, I hate when people, like, act right, act like you're at school, even though you're not at school. I'm like, okay, we act up at school, too. So
Yeah.
that's not going to change
That's
anything.
exactly how this kid was acting. His name was Josh, and he was in trouble at school all the time, so he was
Gotta get in
being
trouble.
himself.
Yeah, why do they allow kids like that to go on field trips? Because you already know. You know what's going to go down. But like me...
Well, but you can't keep that kid from going on the field trip.
Yes, you can.
As
You
long as the
absolutely
parents sign the permission slip, they're on the trip.
It's not up to the parent.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. If the school doesn't want you to go, since when does the school not call the
there's-
shots about taking
Here
their
are
kids
the
on field trips?
here are the permission
Right, but
slips.
if you are a
Menace.
kid that gets in a certain amount of trouble, they can say you're not allowed to go.
Yeah, there's plenty of times that,
Yeah, that
parents and
happens a
teachers
lot.
disagree.
that's a public school thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anybody who signed the permission slip at my school went.
No, there was definitely kids where
Because I was getting beaten up on field trips too.
They would show up to our school in the morning and then they take another bus to a different school. Because that's how bad of kids they were.
Oh, yeah, they were at the alternative school.
Yeah.
Oh, everyone
and I'd have
hated
to
those
do that
kids.
every once in a while where I'd get in-school suspension and they'd send you to the alternative school for a couple days.
Like
did
when they
that
were
for
just
my
playing
brother.
Pixies and Nirvana and stuff.
No, it's
Yeah.
the one around here. My brother had to go to is called Ombudsman, and they would send him down there because they're like, dude, we can't keep you in regular school. You're such, and this was also like 90s, and they didn't really understand ADD yet. ADHD, they were just like put him on medication, tell him to shut up, sit down. So they put him in that school, and it's like one-on-one time with a teacher, and no one else is around you. Like each kid has their own like private.
Oh, that's not what we
area.
had. It was basically.
Maybe it wasn't a bad kid school. Maybe
all
it was
the
just
bad
LD.
kids in the school district would go to a YMCA and sit there, and the teacher would say, like, do your work. Like, the teachers from the other schools would send the work, and then you just basically do your homework all day.
Yeah, it was like a Pink Floyd song come
and
to
then
life.
the teachers would leave the room, and as soon as they left the room, it was just madness.
Yeah, ours was
We would
in
not do
a
our work.
boys and girls club. Like,
But okay, did you have a room like that in your school though? Because we had SMR, which was the student management room, which was exactly like that, where it was.
What a bloodless title. The
SMR.
Student Management
Yeah,
Room.
well,
This is
all-
where we manage the students.
All the kids faced the same way. It was like 8 degrees in that room, and the lady who ran the room she did not mess around. So
Sure,
you sat in
Miss
your
Crunchable.
desk. Yeah, you sat in your desk and you did your work for the remainder of whatever period you got kicked out. So if you were acting up,
No,
they
we
sent you
didn't
down to SMR, and then you had to sit there for the rest of the period before you went to your next class.
I don't remember if we had. I feel like I had something like that. I know
so
I got
many-
kicked out of a lot of classes. I know that they're just always looking for a place to put me.
Yeah.
To just be like, can you just get out of here?
I never got kicked out of a class. I had a Saturday school, and when I tell you that I protested that, I like went to the principal, I went to the superintendent, I told my mom to call, like, 'cause I was like, I do not deserve to have a Saturday school. I was like,
Why are you in Saturday school?
I had a Saturday school because I was like 1 minute late to a free period. Like, there was like a free period, the first period of the day.
So then it wasn't all the time you were going. You went there one time.
I went there one time, but I was like, that's so unjust. There's some bad kids that deserve a Saturday school, and you're going to give me like a Saturday school?
Well,
Also-
they're trying to instill in you the necessity of being prompt.
But they would also give those to me. I'm like, I'm not coming to regular school. Why would you think I'd come on a Saturday?
Right, and that's what I'm saying.
What do you think
I
I'm
care.
doing?
Wouldn't you get suspended and stuff?
Yes, and then
but
you
see,
just-
you don't care about that.
But I
That's
was
the thing, that bad
just
kids
trying to
don't
get
care.
suspended to the point where I didn't have to go to school for a few days. I was fine with that. I didn't care about my permanent record, whatever like that means. I didn't care.
Depending on what your offense was. So if you were just being bad in class or talkative or the teacher couldn't get you to calm down, they sent you to SMR. And then if
My
you,
school had an ASMR room where they would just brush your hair into your ear.
Into a
and
microphone.
Yeah, it was very nice.
so and then if you built up a couple of those, they would make you eat lunch in there for a week, and then or if you like, they could just outright give you a detention, which
that
was
was-
after school detention.
That
or
was
Saturday
only
detention.
a threat, though, to
If you
people like
cared.
you and me.
Yeah, 'cause I
not to
didn't
people
want
like
that.
Cody and
Yeah.
Bill
Once
who
you
didn't
realize
want to be there.
they really can't do anything, and you just go where you want, school becomes a much funner place.
Well, I had plenty of fun in school. I couldn't shut up. I was very talkative. I was very disruptive, and I had one English teacher that her and I did not get along. And she, the one time I got a Saturday detention is because she took a note from me. I was passing a note in class, and I didn't want her to read it. So I went up behind her while she was sitting at her
grabbed
desk,
it?
and I went to snatch it, but she stood up, so I was like on her back, and she said that I like attacked her. So yeah, I had to go down to SMR, and I got a Saturday. For
She
that
was
one.
a human backpack for a second, and I didn't care for that.
There was a time where I think this was like 8th grade where not only would a teacher take a note from you and read it in front of the class, she was like, if it's not juicy enough, I'm adding juice. Like she was
Right.
like, she said, I'm adding stuff to it. I said, you can't be doing that. That's confidential. She's like, not in my class, it's not.
Yeah, that same teacher came and saw me headline Hilarities a year ago, I think, or 2 maybe. And she was like, I always knew you'd be funny. I was like, you put my desk in the hallway for an entire quarter. Like, you did not like me at all. What are you
Any of my
talking
teachers-
about?
Those are such awkward interactions when you are older and they're older, and they try to have like a normal person conversation with you. But it's like, you were an authority figure when I was a very malleable person.
Yeah.
And it's like, we can't like
we
joke
did
about
not
it
get
now.
along.
No, we
That
can't
was
joke
the
about it
thing.
now.
God, I could
You
never
always
be a
gave
teacher.
me so much trouble, but I thought I couldn't laugh, but I thought it was funny. This woman, my 5th grade teacher, she did this in my dad's wake.
Oh, seriously?
I told that story. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's like, I just always thought you were so funny, but obviously I had to give you decent conduct so I could go home and get my ass beat.
Right. Thanks to you.
Thanks.
Now I have Hot Wheels tracks on
That's
my ass.
right. The guy who beat my ass, he's lying there in that box.
Why
Why
don't
don't you
you
go
tell him
apologize
how
to him?
funny I
Why don't you go tell him how funny I was?
Right.
I mean, he knew, but
I've had a few teachers show up at shows, but they weren't there to see me. But like,
It's an accident?
Yeah, it was like an accident. Well, like one time, it was my teacher and I was opening for a band, and he saw me afterwards, and we had, he was kind. He was a cool teacher. And then there's another one where I don't think he was ever my teacher. He just knew that I went to the school, and I was like, "Oh yeah, how are you doing?" He's like, "I'm good. This is my wife." And I was like, "That lady was a year behind me, and you were a teacher there. That's your wife." And I was like, "And you were the softball coach, and she played softball." And I was just doing
there's
some
always
math
one or two
there.
of those, though.
Yeah, so I was like doing the math on that. This is also like 10 or 12 years later, so
Yeah.
I don't know exactly how they reconnected, but I just thought it was interesting.
probably vaginally.
Yeah.
Alan, my daughter's music department went to Disney this year. They said that if your kid does something real bad, the parents are responsible for flying down to get him, fly him back, and all that.
Oh,
On top of what you paid for the package price.
I can believe that. When I was in orchestra,
But they can't. What are you going to do if you say I can't come down there?
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
They're not going to put him on a plane and send him back.
no, but you
Nice.
could
Yeah.
get billed for anything. Like if you sign whatever waiver they want you to sign, you're liable for that.
But billed for what? You already paid for them to go.
And they're not going to leave your kid in.
Yeah.
No, but I'm saying they'll probably keep him there, but there will be disciplinary action once you get back. I remember there was a kid. I think this kid was like bipolar. I think there was something wrong with him. But I was in orchestra, and we went to Cedar Point one year, just as like a class. It was like an end of the year thing, and we went to Cedar Point. This dude like got lost, like could not find him. Was purposely not trying to be found. And we had to leave after sitting there on the bus for like an hour. We left, and then the teacher had to go back and like look for him. I'm like, man, I was like, I can't.
So much.
Yeah, I was like, I could not be a teacher because I would leave immediately because I'm like, if I can't whoop him, I can't watch him.
If you can't whoop him, you can't watch him.
And that's fair.
We've heard.
That's why I would never become a teacher. I know that going into it.
One of the things they put us into, like all the kids that they knew weren't going to college, they put us in that thing called JOG, Jobs for Ohio Graduates, and they try and take us to like factories and stuff and be like, here's a
There's
place you can work.
options. Yeah.
And I remember one time they're like, we're going to go to the mall, and you guys are supposed to we were supposed to fill out job applications at the mall, but what we ended up doing was just buying porno magazines.
Porno magazines.
Yeah.
Let's go get some porno magazines.
And it wasn't even like hardcore porn. It was just what they had at like Walden's book behind the desk or whatever. Yeah.
It was
So it
funny.
was like Playboys and Hustlers and stuff.
Like at school field trips, there was times we stopped at the gas station, and then there would be like an adult mart behind that, and all the boys would just turn red and start laughing. There's an adult mart over there. I'm like, kids are so stupid.
Right, because they don't know. Real men don't need porn.
That's right.
Yeah,
You
right.
can just conjure up images in
Make
your
your
own
own.
head. That's right. All right, hey, listen, I'm going to have those Incubus tickets for you. Going to upgrade you to VIP, get you the meet and greet, the whole bit. Qualify for the grand prize, which I'll tell you about. We'll get some hot celebrity goss from Perez Bilton shortly as well. If you want to text for anything, 35192 to do that, and we'll be back.